So I scaled my marketing agency to consistent $70,000+ months, fully automated it, 4-hour work week, all this kind of thing. And in my opinion, my biased opinion, there's something really special about starting an agency that most people overlook or they're just like not aware of. And it's if you take a look at starting an agency from a perspective of rather than just like having it be a way to like get rich, for example, and yes, it is a great way to do that still, regardless of the people who are trying to tell you it's dying or dead or whatever, if you've heard that. But if you look at it instead from a perspective of building foundations and building skills, then the output or the outcome of starting an agency can be extraordinarily life-changing, because an agency is still a business, right? But I think it's a really good kind of business to start because it's service-based. There are a few things I like about agencies, and I'll get into all of them here. But in terms of an agency being a service-based business, you can start with basically no money. I think we all know of this at this point. Like, sure, you might need like $100 or sometimes a little bit more, depending on what approach you want to take. But having effectively zero upfront cost, it makes it a lot easier to start than, say, building some kind of, drop shipping store or something like that where you need to pay for ads. Now, that's one of the biggest things, right? It's an excellent starter business for that reason, because when you're starting out, one of the best things you can do is sell your time, right? Because if you don't have money, you can buy money with time, but when you have money, you can buy time with money. But if you don't have money, you need to sell your time, and there's really no other way around it. So zero upfront cost is one of the great things about it, but looking at this foundational approach and skill building approach, there are 3 core skills, and don't get me wrong, there are so many more, but there are 3 core skills involved in building a successful agency, whether it's a social media marketing agency, a recruitment agency, a web design agency, any type of agency is what I'm talking about here. But in the agency space, there are 3 core things. The first one is going to be your service. The second one is going to be your marketing. The third one is going to be your sales. Now, I'll dive deep into all of these right now because they are all the foundational, the core skills that you need in order to, I'm talking literally, make $1 billion. Now, there are some other skills involved, like learning to choose markets and opportunities, which are involved too. But just talking about, the 3 core skills, at least for now, being, again, service, marketing, and sales. These 3 core skills you can combine to make really, anywhere from $1 million to, $5 million to $5 million a year is extremely realistic. And you can scale service-based businesses to unbelievable levels, like in the billions of dollars. So I'm not saying you can't do that, but a lot of people who are brand new to business in general, $1 million to $5 million a year is something that's extremely achievable in a service-based business. Now, one of the things that I like about service-based businesses as well is there's the customer support is actually, it can be at times a little bit more intense, if that makes sense. There's, with an e-commerce product, for example, the only real customer support you have to do is just like make sure you respond to someone who wants a refund and like deal with that. But in service-based businesses, support can be a lot more complex, which I think is a good thing when you take this perspective of trying to learn the skills and build the foundations to build a massive business down the line. Again, I started an agency with the plan of learning these skills. I didn't start an agency necessarily just to try to like get rich. And money was a big part of it. Don't get me wrong in the slightest. And it's a big part of it for almost everybody in the beginning. So, don't take that the wrong way. But the perspective I went into starting my agency with was not, I need to be rich tomorrow. And actually, I fell into that and got caught up in that, and that ate me alive. But what I really initially went in with again was looking to build these skills. I think I just in part uh, didn't anticipate how long it would really take, or didn't know because I didn't have the knowledge. When I make these videos, I'm trying to be the person I never had. I didn't know these things. I mean, I knew that I was looking to go in and build these skills, but I didn't know how long it would really take to build them. It takes a long time, years, right? But that being said, from a service standpoint, you're in better communication with your clients in a service-based business. You're having phone calls with them, so on and so forth. In e-commerce, a lot of people want to do e-commerce because, especially introverts like myself, I wanted to do e-commerce in the beginning because I didn't want to talk to people. But one of these core business principles is talking to customers. That's what's going to take you the furthest because they can give you so much data. You can survey people, you can find out what people think, what's going through their minds, what problems they're facing with your products or services, and so on and so forth, so that you can make improvements and then actually get referrals and this kind of thing, right? You can find what's wrong, you can problem solve better, and not just be guessing all the time. One of the biggest mistakes you can make is just guessing, right? What your customers want and so on and so forth. But having this heightened level of connection with your customers is just so important. And then moving on to the marketing piece, you can leverage these things in your marketing, but moving on to your marketing piece as well, you need a way to get people to find out about your service, right? So this teaches you lead generation. Oftentimes in SMMA, people run lead generation agencies, so that helps build that skill even stronger. Because if you start to run any business and you use paid ads as one of your primary methods of scaling, you need to learn how to run paid ads. So a lot of guys will, go and outsource and hire contractors out the gate to do their clients' ads for them. But you're kind of missing the point there because you could become so much better of a media buyer or of an advertiser if you're the one running the ads. Now there are complications with scaling and so on and so forth. I still managed to be the brain behind our entire operation with 60, 70 clients, right? So keep that in mind. It can absolutely be done. I would have changed some ways about that I did that, but regardless, I mean, now I have so much paid ads experience so that when I started to run paid ads for myself, it was easy, right? My campaign was, hit it out of the park right away. I made a video on it was like 57K in 18 days or something like that with YouTube ads for my agency because I'd been advertising for a while and I knew how to run ads already, right? So on top of that, though, there also comes sales. And if you do appointment setting for your clients, for example, I'd recommend doing it by hand yourself in the beginning so that you can learn, how to do it. And you can build the skill of setting appointments because you need to do that for yourself and your agency, right? But on top of this, what happens is you know how to provide a good service, you know how to communicate with customers, you know how to market and get attention, but you know how to convert that attention into sales, money, and clients that are therefore happy, and it creates this flywheel effect where your business starts expanding and expanding and expanding because now you're getting referrals, you're able to scale your lead gen because you have more money, and everything just really, really starts to take off, and there's this exponential effect. Side note, some people will talk about business being like cleanly exponential. It's not. It's more S-curves. So you make a big jump, then you plateau, then you make a big jump, then you plateau, big jump, plateau. So be prepared for that. But when you go in looking at business from more of a foundational, fundamental skill building perspective, then what ends up happening is life becomes a lot easier. You're okay with things taking longer, and you're willing to stick to something for a longer period of time and go through hardships. But then what happens is you go out on the other end where now you're making good money, you know how to run a business, manage people, build a team, build far many more skills than these three I'm talking about. There's so many more skills. Now you can move into a much bigger, a much more significant business, right? I never started my agency with a plan to run an agency until I'm 65, for example. That was not my plan. My plan was to start my agency, run it for a good number of years before moving into the next thing, and more using it as a learning base, a stepping stone, because sure, you could pivot your agency a million times and into the future and turn it into something great. You can absolutely do that. That's just not what I wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to go into the software space with time, and that's still my plan. The longer you wait to build your like big hitter business, the bigger of a hitter it'll be. So you want to focus on building your foundations, because the stronger the foundation, the bigger the building, right? Now, if you're a fan of this ideology, I guess, for lack of a better term, I don't even know if that's the right term, to be honest, but if you like this way of thinking, that's how I think, that's how I see business. And if you want to learn more directly from myself and meet other like-minded agency owners who are equal to where you're at or ahead of where you're at, and just get to know people in more of like a tight-knit community type setting, there's a link in the description. You can go book a call with me, see if that's something that you'd be interested in joining. If so, again, go book a call with me in the description. Otherwise, you can go to my channel, watch other videos of mine for free for more value, because there's tons of value on my channel. Otherwise, again, click whatever's on screen here. I'll see you there.